The pigs have been working hard all winter ploughing the pasture. We watch the parrots eat the dug-up corns of the onion grass weed, which dominates the pasture here. Ever since its introduction, more than 120 years ago in this part of Australia, farmers have been battling to control onion grass on their pastures. We are delighted this natural synergy of pigs and parrots has gone some way into fighting its presence here. Time will tell how much this relationship may have effectively eradicated it on the property. This winter, we also welcomed 4 new additions to the ranch. These Indian runner ducks came to us very scared of human interaction and prefer to keep their distance. We hope they will get used to us with time, provide us with delicious eggs, and keep down some of the slug population as we plant a food garden in the spring.
Well, there we go. So last night we racked off all the cider, we kept all the clear stuff for ourselves, and now all the yeast cake and all the leftovers. We've got it in this barrel. Before I clean it, I think I might just offer it to the pigs and see how they go. Hopefully we don't have some completely drunken pigs running around today, but they got some pretty powerful powers of consumption, so we'll see what they think about this. It'd be definitely good for them. There's a lot of yeast and stuff like that in there, a lot of thiamine and vitamin B, you know. So. Well, they're already up. They're already up and rummaging around, so we'll go and see what they think. Morning, pigs. Good morning. Good morning. Morning, chipolata. Good morning. Good morning. My favourite pig. Hey, Chippy. I know everyone's hungry. Someone seems hungry. Oh, have you got drool coming? Is your mouth watering? Oh, you poor old pig. You're starving to death, obviously. All right, pigs. Come on. Pig, 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 pig. You thought happy hour was rough at your pub. Well, they thought that was pretty pretty good, but we better get them some real food to go with it, so they can't just start the day with alcohol. Yeah, look at these two. Like someone looking for a kebab shop after the knockoff. We'll get them a nice bit of grain ration. We're going to try moving them today. So I shouldn't say try moving, they move pretty easily, but I've just given them all a few litres of cider. So I hope they don't get too belligerent. Okay, I think we've got everything we need to go and move some pigs. We've got some poly wire here with strands of metal through it, so it conducts electricity. We use those for temporary paddocks. We've got some step-in posts. We've got a variety of handles and stuff like that. Rather than talk about it, we'll go and put it all in place, and then we can actually see how it all fits together. Otherwise I'll be sitting here rambling at you for ages. No one wants that. Okay, now these high tensile steel wires here are constantly energized. They've got about 6,500 to 7,000 volts going through them. I don't want to touch them. So, and as I mentioned before, these wires here, these spools of cable, that's you know, that's PE, that's a synthetic fibre rope, but it's got metal strands running through it, so it will conduct electricity. If I just went and tied that on now, I'd be in for a bit of a nasty surprise. So just on the end of these, I've got a bit of PVC pipe that I've just put that little hook into, and that can hook onto the wire and it'll isolate this just while I walk it out. When I finally want to hook this thing up, we've got these handles and they've got metal through them, an insulated handle and a bit of metal here that you can tie the line onto. As soon as you hook on, whatever you've got behind it attached to it is electrified. I also have made up some, just you know, these are about $8–9. So I got some insulated underground cable, and it's nothing to just strip the ends off and put a hook and a loop on those as well. So they also do the same thing. If we touch that end, it's big trouble. So I won't do that. All right, well, let's just run a line out. So I'll run this end out right now, and then we'll have a look at hooking these on at the other end. There's a bit I have to do here still, so I want to go along, I want to pull this line tight, so I want it in a straight line that I'm going to be setting it up on. Then I'm going to want to walk out my step-in posts. Also make sure that there's no obstructions under this. Maybe I'll have to run the whippersnipper, the weed whacker out. Should be wearing my glasses. Hook it up like that, and then instead of hooking the bit of metal on, they've actually got an insulated hook in there. Can touch it, no shock. So, and I'll just leave that there for the time being. As soon as I want to energize that line, all I need to do is put that hook on the end, and I can hear it clicking there actually because it's already touching stuff. That's pretty bad for an electric fence. Wire, old fencing wire. So there has been a couple of these fence lines put in and they've been destroyed by these gum trees, knocked over by kangaroos. They're in pretty hopeless state. So what we have been liking to do is clear them away from the electric fence and let the pigs go in. They clear everything away from it. We can see it and then we can tidy it up after them. But for the time being, I'll just cut this one out of the way. Bit of a hopeless task trying to reuse this old rusty fence. I might be able to find a use for it, making a compost basket or something, but there's a lot of it, so I might have to make a little fence cemetery somewhere. Alright, so I'll just put this out of the way. The pigs don't mind this, they negotiate it pretty well, as long as they can't push the metal onto the wire of the electric fence and earth it, because that takes all the zap out of the energizer and the fence goes down to like 1/2 volt. So as you look along there, you can see that it's fairly apparent that you can use those step-in posts because of the flexibility of this material, just to sort of dodge around features of land that you know that might be a little bit higher, or trees or things like that. In the future, what we would actually like to do is step out the contours of this land. We'll let the pigs go through at the moment, and then we're just going to be harrowing it. But in the future, as they come along, I would like to have actual set contours that we set these along. And in that way the pigs will make just tiny little, they work up against the end of this and they make tiny little micro swales. So it's a nice little thing, you know, it just holds the water a little bit longer. And if we end up here a little bit longer, that would be an obvious place to put trees on contour. Anyway, I've got one more line to run. So this one's at 6 inches and then the next one's at 14 inches roughly. In reality, what it is it's my thumb and then my thumb again, just so I don't have to carry a tape measure around with me. So we'll just run another one. The posts are in place, and I'll come back later on, maybe with a whippersnipper, and maybe just clear out anything that's touching this. But we'll just see how we go. We'll hook everything up, and we'll come and run a fence tester on it and make sure we haven't lost any voltage. Let's run that other line. All right, well that all looks pretty good there. The lines are all clear of growth. If you see behind me, you can see a bit of a pale patch. I quickly ran a whippersnipper through there, you know, like a line trimmer. I didn't figure that was all that interesting to film, so just take my word for it. So when we come to move the pigs, they're going to come through this gate. I know it doesn't look like a gate, and into that paddock through this gate. What we're going to need to do now is just run a line just here, just so that when they come through, they can't go up this laneway. This is a service laneway. This isn't supposed to be worked on by pigs at all. This is so I can bring either the vehicle in a trailer, or you know, the tractor down through here, or all of the above, and you know, service these paddocks. Now I've got 2 wires, but I've only got 1 roll. So I've got these ones, and they've got little slits cut in them at right angles. One there. Don't touch it, chooks. You'll be sorry. A little bit of a redirect there. So now I'll just go and zap it over to that other side, and we'll energise this one. This is only very temporary, this one. I always like to have a milk crate around, and I pop these on there, and it just makes sure that I can't lose any electricity to earth. It just isolates it well. I'll hook that on, and now that is live. Okay, so a word about these gates. All right, wherever I want to transfer animals through later on, we need to be able to make a break in the electric line easily, you know, quickly. So what I've got, and I wanted to do this fairly cheaply, so you might get something out of it. At one end is a car inner tube that I scored from the tip. Cut a little bit, it's got a loop there, it's given us a bit of spring action. So that's keeping tension in this, you know, there's a couple of cents worth of high tensile wire that everything else is made out of. Up here is acting as an insulator, is just this bit of 13mm irrigation tube. It's a very good insulator, in fact. So even though that's wet, I'm getting nothing bad happening to me. So all I need to do now to de-energise that is to unhook this off that live fence. That is now de-energised. The only way that that can be energised is to hook it onto that fence, or if I haven't unhooked this, if I touch it like that, it's now energised as well. And it'll get you. So separate it right off and away from it, and now it's good. So that's a really easy fence if you've got a termination at that end, and then there's electrified wire going at right angles. You can just hook it on. But what about if it's in line, where you've got electrified wire, and you want to put a gate joining those two? We can have a look at that as well. So a little more unusual. I just wanted to bring electricity from that fence to this bit where I can hook into it. And all I've used is the same, that underground cable, that heavy duty insulated cable. I've just run a little bit from the fence over there, secured it with a U-nail here, and made a loop in it that I can hook into. Again, I've just used wire, 13mm irrigation tube, and there we go. That's a gate. So that's if I just want to drive the tractor up and down this service lane. Hook it back up, test it. Whew, live. Good to go. So we'll leave that shut, we'll open those two, we'll get those pigs in. You ready? You are ready, aren't you?
I'm totally ready.
Go, good pig. Oh, good pigs. Good pigs. Well, moving those pigs is pretty easy. I didn't even really need to entice them with food. They knew the program, you know. They've seen me mucking around there in the last couple of days, and they were like, oh, it's coming. And they were pretty hot onto it, so So I can take that white barrier down. We've shut that gate. The pigs are in the new pasture, and honestly they'll probably stay up late tonight getting into that. They're always really excited to be in a new spot. I do just have to move the water over, and that'll be a job done. We'll move that white barrier rope as well so the chickens can have free range, because they respect the fence too, you know. Look, a couple of these chickens have been popped, and just those two little wires is enough to keep those chickens in. So, I've been zapped a few times now, I don't blame them.
Though it doesn't look it right now, it's going to start bucketing with rain in a couple of hours. So I thought about bringing the goats out this morning, but they really don't like being in the rain, and they still don't follow me that well, so it is a little bit difficult to walk them out and put them out and then walk them back in. So I'm just going to set up a whole little lush browse for them in their house today. Hopefully that sunlight's hitting them this morning, and then when it starts raining this afternoon they won't be bored, they'll have lots to do. Hello. Hey, you two. Are you ready for some browse? I like to get them a variety of different stuff if I'm leaving them in for the day, just so they don't get too bored. So yeah, I'll go get them some more stuff. They really love pine needles, they love the feijoa, they're okay on the citrus trees, and they also really like a lot of the natives. So I found that they like a lot of the gum trees, the callistemons, peppermint trees. So yeah, we'll get them a bit more variety. You want some pellets, don't you? You're just getting browse this morning. You might get some pellets tonight or bed. You're looking for pellets. I feed them their pellets in this red bucket, so I'm hoping that eventually that I'll be able to just walk them around the property with food and a lead. We're getting there. That's how I get them out now. See, they know their pellets come in the red bucket. Anyway, I'll take these and I'll go get you some more browse, huh? Yes. They're still a bit scared of me. All their favourite things: Tagasasti, pine needles, some of that oak tree that you saw me collecting earlier. Hi goats, are you excited? They probably prefer biscuits, but this is probably better for them. A lot more minerals and things like that, and they can have their pellets later. Ooh la la, it's your favourite. Welcome to the salad bar. My goodness, so much food for you. Oh, I lost one. This is a problem. Yes, you don't like being apart, do you? I know. Shouldn't leave one another. It's sunny out there now, but you won't want to be out there later. Okay, both the goats are out. This has never happened before. I think I'm going to have to go get some pellets. Maybe I can leave them out for a little bit. They're kind of staying with me, so they might follow me. Yeah. I'm going to have to go get some pellets to try and lure them anyway, I think. Yeah. See, I think they want to stay with me. They trust me. I think they're attached to me. This has just never happened before. This is a cruel trick because I haven't got any biscuits yet, but I'll go get them biscuits. Come on. Come. Come on. Come on. Good goats. You guys are always so hungry for pellets, huh? Which is good. Good goat. Good goatee. Are you? There's a bit of hail.
Kind of draw the line at electricity and ice falling out of the sky. I think it's tea time. This is a great hat in the rain. I'm glad I pulled it out of the bin. All the little hens are down under the house.
Are they? Oh yeah.
I'd say only the ducks of everyone
Are enjoying
and
this.
me are still out. The pigs heard that thunder and they thought, oh, they were looking up, you could see them.
Okay, so I caught the cat digging in here just in the nick of time. It's time to unveil the prosciutto. Where are you there? There it is.
Well, I'm just waiting for Pasky to come with our prosciutto, a nice big ham. We're going to hang it in this service duct. My sister and her husband have been kind enough to make this available for us. So we've got all the services for their house, and this is a really, really stable environment.
It lost a kilo in the salt. So we're hanging it down here for the time being until we can erect something of our own back at the house. Yeah, so it's just a time game now. 10 months it's got to hang. We'll come back and do something to it a bit later, but we'll show you that when it happens. So these are coppers that were made when we were making sausages with Jack and Sam. If you missed that episode of us making dry cured sausages, then I popped a link on the screen now.
Okay, it's time to unleash the ducks. We're free-ranging them, and we've got to talk to the neighbour because they're trespassing. They like to go next door and hang out on his dam. But a big part of managing our livestock is making sure that they come to us. So food, is a big part of that. Bit of operant conditioning, I guess. So with these ducks, whenever I want to give them some food, quack quack, quack quack quack. I'll normally quack quack, and they know that food's coming. And when they're on the dam, we'll see that later on. They hear it and they come running. But now we'll just go and let them out. And there they go, off to the dam. Well, it's a duck's life. Ducks are quite messy, so they'll get on fine with chicks, but I don't really like having them together that much, just because ducks are they're a much messier creature and they foul the water easier. I just quickly cobbled together a little water that that I wanted to sort of reduce the amount of muck that ducks could put in it, that's been fairly successful. But they get a lot of dirt in their bill and up in their nostrils, and they like to flush it out, so they mess up their water a lot more than chicks. So we do have to come and clean that out a lot. And I haven't made an automatic waterer for the ducks. But when the chicks go out on their own, it'll be much easier to maintain a clean watering system for them. But this is what we've done for the ducks so far. So this is just 90mm PVC pipe, with some hole saws drilled in it. It was really old stuff that I just found laying around, so it was brittle and shattered. So I've just got a fill. Well, essentially they're just elbows, 90-degree elbows at either end, and some brackets to hold on these feet. The reason I made this is just so you can lift, let the water slosh back and forward a bit, and then upend it, and there we go. And then I've just been filling it up each day out of a jerry can here. So that water is a bit of a primitive affair. As we get more established, we get other jobs done. We will automate that, but with ducks, you're always going to have some sort of manual management to come in and clean that water out. So that's what we've got so far. It's simple. We have to do the rounds every day. It only takes a couple of seconds to do. We better check the eggs. So 4 ducks at the moment. They're giving us 2 eggs a day. Obviously, one of them's a drake, a male. He's not going to give us any eggs. Hate to break it to you. But he will give us ducklings in the future, hopefully. We've got an incubator there waiting, and we might expand our duck flock. Yes! Little beauties. So we don't know that if these are fertilised yet or not, so we're just eating these for the time being, but later on we'll see how we go. These ducks, they'll lay about 300 eggs a year, so they're quite productive. They're not a super good eating duck, they're pretty lean, but they can, they're a general purpose utility duck. What? No. So far we don't have an egg stealing dog. No, this is bad. Not for dogs. So far these have been really great. They're really rich and just amazing. Indian runner ducks, mainly an egg producing bird. Over in Asia they do eat them, but they're fairly lean. Okay, there's not a lot of meat on those birds. At the moment they're pretty safe. They've started laying eggs, so they're not due for the pot. Paskies, what do you think, Pasky? Should we take some goats for a walk now?
Yep.
So with our goats, we've had them for a little while as well, and Pasky's pretty much been in charge of that. I haven't had a lot to do with it, which is probably just as well, because she's got a bit more patience. Goats can be a little bit trying. Pasky's got infinite patience from the years of hanging around with me. So she's pretty good at dealing with intractable characters.
Hello, goats.
So we've decided we've been taking them for a regular walk, pretty much like a dog. So they've settled in now. They're really, really happy with this enclosure that we built for them. So now we're just taking them for a walk around the property and sort of acclimatising them to them. And I don't think they're going to be that much different to our other livestock, like the poultry, where we might be able to free range them to a limited extent. But they really do like going back to their enclosure once we've given them a walk and they've had some pellets.
To go for a walk. Come on. Come on. Come on, goaties. Come on. They don't like pets very much. That's okay. Come on, Jude. Up, up. I don't know why she's not jumping up today.
Well, the goats have had their morning run, so now they're just on their tethers. We were using stakes before, but we found that a better solution was a heavy car tyre. They're quite easy to move around, but they're not that easy for a goat to move around. The upside to it is if a goat is actually scared by something, there's not a big shock loading. They actually do move the tyre a bit, rather than a stake driven into the ground where they come up quite short. There is the other advantage that you can see that the tyre really neatly contains a bucket full of water, so they have a hard time knocking it over. I didn't say it's impossible. They are goats, but they really have to try to knock those over. So we don't often come out and find that they've done that. We're here pretty much full time, and these goats are always within about 40 metres of the house at most, actually 30 metres. So we pretty regularly just pop our head out the window and just keep an eye on them. So Pasky's spoiling them a little bit. She's got them some, what'd you get them, oat chaff?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember. Some nice hay.
I don't know, but in between browsing pine trees and Tagasasti, this tree lucerne, and a little bit of grass, they're not really lawnmowers. In between that, they're getting some really nice stuff. So they seem to be happy, and they seem to be trusting us. They seem to be adapting, and that's all we can really hope for. So early next year, we're going to look at maybe getting them mated, and then we can start actually milking these goats. But we need to develop that trust, and they need to be happy with us touching them and everything else like that before that's even viable.
Thanks for joining us for some of the last few weeks of winter here on the Ramshackle Ranch. We look forward to sharing the magic of spring with you soon.
And you've got a live wire running at right angles to it. See, it just touched it. Bloody hell. So, and then I've got, bloody hell. I've got to stop electrifying myself.
If you enjoyed the video, thanks for subscribing and hitting the like button, as it really helps to get this video recommended to like-minded people. See you next time.